You keep falling asleep on me, I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Aethys is ending the world. It seems we're all still here.
Gods and darnation. My head.
And here with me thinking we were right and proper dead this time. We ain't dead, right?
So, it ends like this. Rauatai will accomplish wonders with this place. It is a shame you won't be a part of them. It once did. Now it is ours to take.
Be ready to be showing them the light, lass.
Ulu. Then. Lavaru beyond seek.
What can I do you for? Arthek Worthen Roth.
Kinda stuck over here.
Damn the lad's aim!
Aye? Now you be right screwed. Aye, aye, Captain. Oi, watch it!
Come now, step into the light.
Oh, that's not right. What can I do?
What do you need? I'm on it.
That dog won't
necessary?
hunt. Happy to oblige.
Captain.
Anything.
Happy to oblige. Time to separate the chaff.
Tell me.
Lavaru beyond
What for, Cap? I'll be slicing her stem to stern.
Damn the lad's aim!
I'm here.
Tell me. What do you need?
I hope nobody saw that.
Stand together!
Ahoy. I'll be more than half handy, I. Be blowing a man down.
I'm having some
What can I
trouble
do
moving
you
through
for?
this.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yes?
I'm here. Take this!
I? Only takes a finger to blow her away.
Something I can do?
Ugh. Say your prayers!
Yeah? Aye?
Captain. Be blowing a man down.
I'm here.
Something I can do?
Tell me.
What can I do you for? I'll light the darkness.
Ahoy.
Tell me. Ha-ha!
I'm good and stuck.
What do you need?
I?
Indeed. Certainly. Absolutely. I'd be glad to.
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous, rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
In this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo. Been a while, old friend. Widewin, I did not think to see you here. But few things go as expected when the Watcher is involved. We were a good team, once. But this isn't what we fought for. Ain't you just burning the harvest because you planted the wrong seeds? An astute observation, old friend. Consider instead that I am giving the soil back to those who till it. Spring must always follow winter. As long as there are people committed to finding the other side of change, the agony will not last. But thank you for challenging me as you did in fairer times. I haven't forgotten the lesson we strove to impart. You're welcome, I suppose.
This isn't right. You can't put this burden on us. You can't make the gods' problems, our responsibility to fix. How can you have faith that what you're doing is good? You know how many people are going to suffer because of this. No matter how you spin this, you can't set it straight.
Adair, I wish I could explain it to you. It breaks my heart that I cannot. But no matter how much you curse me, do not despair. The souls of this world will need people like you. Lights burning brightly in the darkness to come.
Gone, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living, to improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers, women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
I ain't never chatted up a god before. Feel like I should be asking something profound and philosophical. And yet, thing I be wanting to know, what be stopping the other gods from coming down and just setting this shit back straight? And then you breaking it again. This be our new tides, then, all up and down, over and over, till the sea drowns us all?
A wise question, Seraphim. Have no doubt, some of the gods are already trying to figure out a way to fix this on their own. It is not beyond their capabilities. After all, we made these machines with the Huana many years ago. But it is not something they can do easily, not without mortal assistance. It will be for mortals to decide if they should receive it.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all, gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Ingwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals? As do I. From where should mortals draw their inspiration? Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes. You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas. with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears, all the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation? Woodica has been especially active since the downfall of her favorite operative. Have you ever considered that she is mentoring his replacement? My brothers and sisters never act when the gains are strictly short-term. If Woodica's shadow has fallen upon you, that can only mean she recognizes your potential to further her ambition. I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me, but for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone. Ask. You are entitled to any answer that is mine to give. No one is worthy of unconditional trust. If you feel the gods are beyond forgiveness, then they don't deserve your obedience. Make your future one that doesn't require them. Should you choose to accept the gods, I hope that you temper your faith with skepticism. Woodica is entitled to her opinion. If the intent of this test is to justify an uprising to come, that is more worrisome. The other gods must decide for themselves if mortals are ready to dictate their future. Should Woodica's tyranny prove the only alternative, mortals must prepare for a terrible conflict. Your perspective bridges eternity, Watcher. Many will look to you to mediate differences that could shake the very foundations of Aora. I apologize, Watcher. There is nothing I can do to restore the glory of your hard-won and poorly situated estate. What happened to Cadnua was not personal in nature. I would have occupied the statue even if it was buried beneath Defiance Bay. Given your perseverance, I know that a second home cannot be distant in your future. You have only to seek it out. For several reasons. My strength was diminished after the Godhammer bomb, and assuming this form took incredible effort. With so many vying for control of the Deadfire, I also saw a ripe opportunity for mortals to cast aside their differences and stand together as one. They have never been more powerful, more capable. Because of this, the gods must justify their importance or be proven obsolete. The great work of the Inguithans falls to ruin. Reincarnation as we know it will end. Souls which currently await new life in the beyond will be born into the world as normal, but their numbers will not replenish. Anything that dies will tarry in the void of the in-between, awaiting the motion of a wheel that no longer turns. Once the beyond has emptied, every birth will be hollow-born. Other maladies of the soul may follow and plague those who linger in life. Unless mortals work together to carve a new path, the essence of life will be trapped in the netherworld. Gods will starve. Eora will grow silent and cold. A generation or more. That much essence is already poised to flow into Eora. But unlike an hourglass, no amount of turning will compel the sand to reverse its course. Should you choose, you could lay down your burden and trust in your children's children to set matters right. That depends entirely on you. By your reckoning, there are still good years to come. By ours, time is short. When we tamed the cycle of reincarnation, we broke what had once functioned naturally and without intervention. The flow of essence will not normalize on its own. Essence will simply pool in the void of the in-between, never passing through Adra networks to the beyond. The dead will be left to wander in darkness, confusion, and sorrow. Yes, they must work toward a solution or perish. If that task is beyond their skill, then they no longer deserve their position. I would have them justify their right to lead. That could mean swallowing their pride and hearkening to the wisdom of mortals. Some, I expect, will perform better than others. I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fists back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Adra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Adra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Adra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted, the machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Adra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes as Aethys's shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Aethys's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. On your recommendation, Aethys disperses his essence and that of the thousands of souls within him to centers of knowledge and learning around the world. Animancers, engineers, wizards, and scholars of all stripes make astounding breakthroughs in understanding and harnessing the phenomena that govern Aora. While some of these developments prove beneficial to Kith, others are decidedly less so. But such is the price of innovation. What remains to be seen is how, indeed whether, they will restore the cycle Aethys has broken. Reclaiming Ukaizo is both a symbolic and a practical victory for the Huana. The ancient city is a potent reminder of their people's ancient glory, and it promises to be a much more easily defensible capital, especially with the storm controls of Andra's Spire close at hand. The other tribes unite under the Kahanga and dedicate themselves to rebuilding Ukaizo and relearning its secrets. The Valian Trading Company continues its operations in Deadfire, though it is forced to renegotiate many of its contracts with the newly empowered Huana Crown. Company leadership finds that the new terms are much more favorable to the tribes than to their own interests in the region. Due to these changes, the Valian Trading Company eventually withdraws most of its people from Deadfire, though Castal convinces the Songreta Mea Compressa to maintain nominal animancy operations in the region. They agree and put him in charge of them. Most of the republics consider this an embarrassing demotion, though Castal himself relishes his smaller, quieter role. The Royal Deadfire Company is expelled from the archipelago as punishment for their attack at Andra's mortar. The storms across the Rauatayan mainland subside along with those of Andra's mortar. However, Rauatai regards this respite with a wary eye, ever mindful that the machinery at Andra's Spire remains under their foes' control. The Huana settlement of Ukaizo reignites Ferrante's dream of a new Valian empire. Deadfire is claimed and controlled, but the clearing of Andra's mortar offers the possibility of new prospects in yet undiscovered lands. He leads the old Valian loyalists across the sea, searching still for a new Valian homeland. The mysterious deaths of Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa provoke hostilities between the Valian settlers and the Huawan residents. What starts with angry words escalates to retaliatory killings as each side blames the other. By the time anyone bothers to question the strange coincidences surrounding their deaths, including reports of a cloaked Omawi woman seen in both the port and the village, both sides have gone too far to turn back. The conflict eventually draws the attention of Queen Onikaza, who sends a contingent of warriors to drive the remaining Valians from the island. Port Maje becomes a cautionary tale for outsiders who would abuse the hospitality of the Huana tribes. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. Though the Kahanga monarchy moves its new seat of government to Ukaizo, Nekataka continues to be a busy and important city. The Kahanga leadership takes responsibility for the welfare of the Raparu, and the gullet starts to improve. What was once a den of crime, poverty, and illness slowly becomes a quiet haven for the Raparu. Ukaizo reveals more about the ancient art of water shaping than the guild could have hoped to learn in another century of work. With this new knowledge, water shapers across the archipelago wield the currents and bend the waves for the pleasure and benefit of the new Huana nation. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him, but that changes as word of Aethys's deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The faith of the children of the Dawnstars fades, but their commitment to the people of Deadfire does not. They continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest, just as they have for decades. It is no longer a holy mission, but it is a mission all the same. Ruanu, the chieftain of the Huana at Tikawara, dies mysteriously. The tribe finds his body washed up on the same beach where Anaharu challenged him to the trial of waves. Some blame Anaharu's vengeful spirit. Others see it as Ngati's final judgment. And a few speak of a strange man seen lingering in the village. The leaderless tribe eventually scatters. Some head to Nekataka, while others seek out the Wahaki. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between Aora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Under Halfjorn's guidance, the Harbingers of Dusk resettle within Remergon's temple, vowing to forever protect it from the defiling touch of outsiders. Over time, the group becomes increasingly reclusive and fanatical, attacking any who dare approach their holy site. In besting the Beast of Winter, you earned the Death God's mercy rather than his enmity. The deity remains characteristically unforthcoming about his decision, and you're left to wonder whether in doing battle with him in the White Void, you somehow furthered his apocalyptic ambitions. From her phylactery, Neraskilos whispers to you still. Once repaired, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari again pulses with the flow of soul essence between the here and the beyond. The feral life on the island flourishes, the jungles and veld growing ever wilder and resistant to settlement and exploration alike. The faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Galawain's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel. Stymied by Aethys's actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Released from their bondage to the sightless eye, the Vithrak of the Halls Obscured abandon the Black Isle and resettle in the deepest and darkest recesses of the ruins beneath Nekataka. Sisak and his colony remain secretive and isolated, however, rarely interacting with those kith crawling about in the sunlight above. Encouraged by her arcane successes, Bakarna returns to her observatory to continue her studies of the celestial spheres. In time, her colleagues in the Circle of Archmagi come to accept her among their number. She takes on apprentices, and they trumpet her praises as both a brilliant innovator and nurturing pedagogue. Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Aora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, the body collapses upon itself, and the Black Isles finally implode. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. Adair returns to Hisongo, where he reunites with Byrne, the son of his former lover, Alava. The boy takes heart in Adair's account that Aethys and all the other gods were false, petty, and unworthy of the love of Kith. Realizing how close he came to dying for this cause, Byrne finds renewed purpose in working alongside his uncle to repair the many scars left upon Deadfire by the gods. Under Adair's guidance, Byrne grows into the kind of irreverent, stubborn hothead that would have made his mother proud, and Adair visits her gravesite, often to tell her so. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Seemingly lit with an inner glow, Shodi takes to a new life of mission work with gusto. She still is committed to shepherding souls forgone, but having realigned her goals with that of her fellow Dawn Stars, she now endeavors to help the living as much as the dead. As you travel the Deadfire, you find her sleeping better and laughing more often. When the time comes for her to return to her temple in Neketaka, it's with a clear wistfulness and much lip-biting on her part. She leaves you with her sickle and a hastily scrawled note. It reads, "A keepsake from a path once walked. Remember me, Watcher, for I will forever dream of you." Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the gods' stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. His one regret is having to leave the Watcher he has come to love. He bids you a fond and affectionate farewell, hoping your paths converge again one day. You let Romaro go, and the former pirate ostensibly set sail for the trade lanes of the Eastern Reach, the Edier Empire, Old Valia, and the Republics. For the remainder of your time together, Seraphin seems, if not exactly happy, at least contented with the outcome of your confrontation with his former mentor at Sayuka. And yet, when the two of you part, Seraphin seems emboldened, invigorated by a new sense of purpose. He buys you a drink, toasts to the Deadfire, says let's see if we can make something worth a shit out of what's left of these Principe swabs, and sets sail the next morning. In the years to follow, rumors occasionally reach you of the Blue Orlan pirate of the Deadfire, a privateer captain as keen to free slaves or fight for an influence as he is to plunder and pillage. After reporting back to her superiors for the Watcher's actions against the Valian Trading Company, Pallegina is rewarded with reassignment home to the Valian Republics. She spends the next several years as the head of the household guard for the Duke of Ancenze. In this role, she is often lauded for her courage and loyalty. Even with all of the praise, there are still times when she cannot help but feel she could have had more influence on what transpired in the Deadfire. Pallegina renews her relationship with Giacomo, corresponding with him regularly and even meeting with the old Animenser once or twice a year. Though she does not understand the intricate details of his research, she reads his letters and responds with great enthusiasm. Her brothers and even the dukes themselves note that Pallegina's demeanor is always warmer on the days when she receives a letter. Rumors even spread that some of the brothers have seen her smile. Time away from the Navy gives Maya Rua some perspective on how Rawatai conducted the Deadfire occupation. No sooner does she return to active duty than she voices her frustrations over some of the more underhanded tactics she witnessed and carried out in the name of the homeland. Her voice carries all the way to the Ranganui, who reminds his admirals that battles are won by superior tactics, but war is a battle of precedent, and winning is not always a victory. The people listen. Though Maya's covert assignment in the Deadfire is considered a success, few claim knowledge of it or openly congratulate her. She receives no praise beyond knowing glances or the occasional raised tankard from her countrymen. She never responds. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. The discovery of Ukaizo doesn't bring Takehu the answers that he sought, but this proves only a minor setback. Merely knowing that Ngati's chosen landed on the island ignites something in the Huana tribes, a fervent desire to recover the past and let history illuminate the way forward. Takehu rides this momentum, leading by example and teaching his people to rely on each other instead of on omens. His message is an upheaval of norms, but it's as embraced and beloved as he is. Your farewell is short and cordial. Nothing further needs to be said, and you wish each other well. Takehu does not look back. The sea feels restless in his absence. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.